Most men think quitting corn is about fighting urges, but the truth is, every relapse is costing you even more than you realize. Until you see the price that you're truly paying, you'll never have the drive to stop. Now, I've gone over 470 plus days cumulatively on NoFap and even cured my corn induced ED after years of struggle and trial and error, and I solved it within 1 week. And now I help men do the same without wasting years, months, days in trial and error mode. Now, number one, you underestimate how much this is costing you. All right, so if you think about it, as time continues to go on, what happens, right? You have all of these different problems that arise, right? Sometimes maybe you have struggle getting and keeping relationships, even being happy and fulfilled in relationships, right? Performance, you have things like social anxiety, all of these different problems that can arise from just the daily habits that you're doing, right? And every time you relapse, right, what happens? You feel less confident, right? You don't feel like the best version of yourself, right? And even your time and focus, right? You tend to have brain fog, so you can't focus as well. And then your time, it feels like the hours just go by so quick because, man, one relapse leads to another. And it honestly makes you feel less of a man, right? You don't really feel proud of this type of habit, right? And then what happens is a lot of times you tend to tell yourself, oh, it's not that serious. But deep down, you know that you're not at your true potential. You know that you can make money, right? You can attract the type of partner. You can get the type of fitness, right? The six pack, the muscles, all those things. You know that it's possible to have these things. But because your day-to-day habits are so poor, you can't get them, right? You can't achieve that outcome just because you're not on one accord, right? For example, when you're on your streak, right, when you're retaining, when you're in control, what happens is your focus is like this. It's like a laser that goes in one direction, right? But what happens when you have all of these distractions, right? You have these things that are taking your time, energy, and attention. It's like this. So then it goes in multiple different directions. And of course, what happens is when you don't have this immense focus, when you can't sit down and do the work that you know you need to do, it takes longer to get to the outcome that you want. When if you could use every ounce of energy you had to try to become the man that you know you can be, you'd get to your opportunity that much quicker. And let's not forget, right? If you have a problem and a partner, a woman, right, sees that you have this problem, they're not waiting around, right? Of course, women are on a different timeline than men, but they're not going to wait around for you. They're going to leave and go to the next best option, right? And there's competition out here. There are other people that are on time. There's other dudes that are not dealing with this, right? They're making more money than you. They're in better shape than you. All of these things. So you got to realize this is competition at the end of the day to really be the type of man you want to be, get the partner, get in shape, make the type of money. And every other man has these wants too. So what are you going to do to differentiate yourself? Well, the area of lust is one that few are able to actually control. But if you're able to do this, can really separate yourself from the crowd. And that pain, when you're unable to get that partner, when you're unable to reach that full potential, trust me, that can be fuel for change. And I even know personally for me, that is really what fueled me to change because, I got ghosted and I knew it was time. I knew that I couldn't continue in the same direction, be that same type of man. I knew it was time for a change. And I put everything into to business and even you see the speaking skills and all those things. This was time and skills that were learned. Now, number two, you're trying to quit instead of outgrowing it, right? You're trying to quit corn instead of outgrowing it. So quitting, right, is step one, right? It's a transformation, right? So you have this drive. You know that you can, right? You can reach the potential. You know what you need to do, right? You have the actions. It's crystal clear, right? But the goal isn't to fight these urges forever. What you want to do is become someone who doesn't need to act on them, right? And that's the big difference here. So it's about acting on it, right? Because what I'm not saying is that you're never going to have urges, right? That you're never going to have temptation, because regardless, you being a human on this earth, you're going to have temptation. I don't care how old you are, right? You're going to have temptation. But the thing is, there's a difference between having a temptation, observing it, and letting it go by, and acting on that temptation, right? It's like you could be chilling one day, you're eating well and all that, and all of a sudden you have a temptation to go eat some junk food, right? It's there. You don't have to act on it, but you know it can happen to you, right? You know that that can pop up in your mind. And really, what you want to do is gain the skills necessary to deal with these urges, right? So it's not about that they'll never show up, but it's about, okay, I know this is coming, and I know these are the factors that can influence how difficult it is to manage. Let me use what's in my control to affect this outcome so that I could increase my probability and my chances of being able to stay focused, right? Not return to the corn, relapsing, all of those things, right? And when your purpose grows stronger than your craving, right? You have such a crystal clear picture of the person you want to become in the future, right? What happens? The addiction literally dies. It literally starves. You literally starve it, right? And that's really how you have to look at it. It's about starving this. It's not about fighting, right? You have to starve it out. And I guarantee you, if you have that crystal clear picture of what you want in the future, and you're motivated, you see everything that you've lost, right? And you use that as fuel, man, it's impossible for you not to have a change, because I've seen it so clearly in my own life. Now, if you're interested in learning more, you want a step-by-step game plan to finally quit corn. You don't want to waste any more time, trial and error, relapse time and time again. And you really want to be on point with your habits, right? You want to finally get in control of this cure, the addiction, right? You want to make sure your performance is always on point, so you don't have to run to the gas station to go get some pills, right? You want that outcome. Click the link in the description below, where I walk you step by step through exactly what you need to do. No more trial and error, so you can finally reach the man that you always know you can be. Number 3, you're addicted to overstimulation. Now, this is a huge one, right? Because when we step back and take a look at what corn actually is, right? All it is a super stimuli. That's literally it. It's a stimuli, and social media there's plenty of things that are super stimuli, right? But all it is it's something that spikes our dopamine higher than what we would normally get, right? That's literally all it is. It's not. That's all you have to think about it, right? So when you see that, okay, if something's spiking up my dopamine, what is it going to cause? It's going to cause it to be more difficult to focus, right? More difficult to just have good habits, right? More difficult to delay gratification, right? Because all you're doing is you're rewiring your brain for instant gratification, and then you basically don't have any motivation left to actually do the work, right? And even think dating apps as well, same thing, right? Scrolling on social media, same thing. And what happens is you wire your brain in a path where it's counterintuitive to the work that you need to do, right? When it's late night, you had a long day, you don't want to go to the gym, you don't want to work out, but you know you have to go, you know you need to go. I guarantee you it's much easier to go and do the work necessary if you're not watching corn, right? And that's because, again, it's all about instant gratification. So instant gratification says, I'm not going to work out today. Maybe I'll do it tomorrow, right? I'm going to order some food, stay in, watch some TV, and I'm just going to chill, right? But you got to understand, there is competition out here. There's someone that is going to take the girl that you want, right? Someone that's going to live in the house you want. There's so much competition out here, right? And you got to realize that if you don't change, right? If you don't become that man, someone else is going to become him, right? Someone's hungrier than you. Someone's going to take your spot. It's all about how can you differentiate yourself, right? And you got to understand and really protect your energy and your focus, especially when it comes to overstimulation. And what that means is, if you notice, the less corn you watch, right? The less, huge example, TikTok, short form videos, the less short form videos you watch, right? You can focus for a longer period of time. You can delay your gratification for a longer period of time, right? You can work on something for hours and the time just go by, versus, man, you're scrolling all day, you're watching the corn, right? You just don't feel good, right? Your brain is all over the place. And that's the observation that you really have to understand, right? And the cure is simple. Protect your focus and create a space for your brain where you can breathe, right? Read, meditate, do all these things. But understand, if you don't do them, you will pay the price for instant gratification instead of delayed gratification. And that price is hefty over a long period of time. Number 4, You're trying to do this alone. I always say get community. Get around people who are hungry for the things that you want, right? If it's, you need support with quitting corn, man, click my link in the description, right? We have other guys who are motivated, over 35 plus students that I've mentored and also helped as well. So click the link in the description. But again, you don't want to do this alone, right? And obviously when you have people that have gone through the same type of thing you have and have achieved the type of outcome you want, man, you better go get with them. You better go tap in and see what you can do to fix your problem, right? Because any problem can be solved, right? With a strategy, information, and applying that information, right? And actually taking action. And what happens is when you isolate, it almost feeds this cycle to where you just can't get out of it, right? You can't get out of the addiction. It feeds the cycle. But the fastest way to level yourself up is to surround yourself with people who are also leveling themselves up, right? So your baseline actually tends to go up when the group's baseline is much higher, right? And obviously, you need to have self-accountability. I don't want to give you this false perception that, man, you just, talk to other people. It's good accountability and that'll fix everything. No, you need to have self-accountability first. And having that self-accountability will then in turn, right, allow you to really check yourself to see, okay, am I doing the habits that I need to be doing? And then you have other people as well who are on the same journey, and it keeps you inspired and obviously just keeps you on point. So get around a winner's circle, man. If you want that, click the link in the description. And number 5, you're escaping instead of confronting. Look yourself in the mirror. How much time have you wasted? What have you actually lost, right? I guarantee you it's painful, What type of man would you become if you knew that you had control over this area, right? And a lot of times what people try to do is, you stay busy to avoid the urges, right? You do all these things, but distraction is not really always the solution. It can help push you in the right direction, but you need to change literally who you are, right? And you need to sit with that discomfort. I know personally, man, when I looked in that mirror, I'm like, man, this is bad. This is bad. I've lost a lot, right? But when you can look at that and use that as fuel, right? And there's so much fuel you have, right? Because this is something that is in your control. Your 2 hands are literally in your control, right? You can change any of this, but what it takes is for you to put in that work, right? And stop delaying the change, right? You can literally change today and that can pay you dividends, right? It can pay you so much in the future. But if you're unwilling to actually change, right, and keep pushing things off, it's just going to delay what you need to do to become the type of person you want to be, right? And self-control is really when you face this and not flee and run from change. Number 6, you keep living the same lifestyle. Right, I always say a crazy person does the same thing and expects a different result, right? So stop living the same lifestyle. What type of lifestyle do you need to live? Who do you need to become to have the type of outcome you want, right? And a lot of times people try to change this without changing their lifestyle, right? They try to get in control without changing anything. So they'll live the exact same way over and over again their entire life. And they try to just willpower, like, all right, I'm good. And you fail time and time and time again. And it's causing more pain and pain and pain again. And you see that, as you get older, the consequences actually increase over time, right? So when you're younger, it's not a huge deal, right? Maybe you're not in a relationship, you're kind of doing your own thing. It's not huge, right? But when you get older, you have performance issues, right? You're not in a relationship. You're not able to have kids. You're not able to be a leader, right? To have confidence, to be solid. These are real world consequences that are destroying your life. Like, that's terrible, right? To not be able to not be able to actually take action and live the type of life you want. It's literally holding you back, choking out your potential in that life, and I'm talking from experience, but seeing it, I know it was bad. And you're probably feeling the same exact way, right? So you got to change your environment and your lifestyle. You got to get in shape, man. Cut out the garbage, man. If it's garbage people or if it's garbage food, garbage content, whatever it is, cut it out, right? Unsubscribe from all these other people that are telling you that stuff is okay, because deep down it's not, right? It's not. You want to be someone who's in shape, who's disciplined, right? Who's focused, right? So you got to upgrade your standards, right? And your old self, It's going to lie to you and it's going to want you to stay comfortable, but you have to destroy the old you to give birth and become the new version of yourself. And number 7, you don't have a clear direction, man. Have that vision, man. Think about what you like to do. If you got to brainstorm, you got to use ChatGPT, do whatever you got to do. But what do you actually want in this life? Do you want money? Do you want fame? Do you want happiness? Do you want a wife, children, right? Do you want to be in shape? Do you want a six-pack? You want abs? All these things. What do you want, right? But without having that purpose, or your brain is always going to go to the pleasure, right? But on those days that are really tough, really hard to do the work that you need to, what are you going to think about? You're going to think about the pain you've gone through and the vision of the future and what you don't want to become, the places that you don't want to stay in, right? And if you can do these things, right, you can be on that mission. You can achieve that outcome that you really want. And when you wake up to something that excites you, right, and gets you passionate and motivated, right, relapses literally are irrelevant. Now, if you enjoy these types of videos and want to learn more, click this video on the screen here.